before you even hop on a conversation, do you kind of go through like a pre-call like ritual or some type of tool that you get ready prior before the call to like really make sure that your mind is like sharp, you know, or anything of that nature?
I'll put it this way, like nowadays, not so much, you
Yeah.
know, but but dude, it's like one of my favorite things to talk about is like mindset and the inner game around sales, just because like
Yep.
that one that just that's the way my career went. Is it's a very like fun topic for me to talk about. But
Yeah.
I used to have like a pre-call routine, you
Yeah.
know, and then it's like it's one of those weird topics where it's like here's the point. The philosophy is like, if you're in your head, you're dead,
Yep.
right? Like you can't be in your head on a sales call. Yeah, I'm a natural introvert. And I
Yeah.
was like, if I'm like reading this script and reading these affirmations and doing breath work before my calls, I realized it's like that wasn't helping. Like do that early in the morning. And then I would go to the gym and then I'd take a shower and then I'd go get my coffee and just have conversations with human beings. I'd come home like right in time for my first call and I'd just already be in flow. And I'd
Mm.
be like, "What's up? How's it going?" And I'd be out of my head. Does that make sense?
That's great. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
because I mean, gosh, I'm in sales for what's it been 8 years? Yeah, almost 9 years now, and people have these like certain rituals. Like some of the top salespeople I've known, they always have like, oh, I do yoga, or I do this, right before
Yeah.
I tell you. They always have like their little like routine. But I love the fact that you're just having normal conversations because that's what it's about at the end of the day, right? It's having real
Right.
conversations with real human beings. So like you practicing going to Starbucks, ordering that flat white or the espresso or
Yeah.
whatever, just having a conversation. I think that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, man. The funny thing is for me, having some rigid pre-call routine was actually hurting me because I was just in my head, you
Mm,
know? It's like
yep.
I'm thinking so hard about getting into state before the call that I realized like it was actually really I was just shooting myself in the foot.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so instead, here's what I began to learn is that, um, like just like any athlete, the game is getting, the game, the inner game, right, is to get out of your head and get into flow during the game, right?
Mm, yeah.
So, so in other words, LeBron James isn't like sitting there thinking, oh, like, what do I do now during while he's on the court? So that's why he practices, right? So like for me, like the thing that really worked is when I began to like get obsessed about my craft that I was practicing, I was transcribing calls by hand, I was transcribing my pitch by hand, I was listening to
Mm,
my closes. I was doing all of that while I was at the gym, when I was driving, when I was cooking dinner, like all the time. And
mm,
so then before my sales call started, I wasn't like trying to like do anything other than just allowing myself to get out of my head. There's been a few times where I look back, I'm like, here's where I got really, really good. I was just selling biz ops. So it was like an agency coaching offer. And I started out around like 4,800. Eventually we raised the price to about 6,800. And I was just taking like 8 calls a day, like literally back to back to back to back, all from cold traffic. So I just remember like it was very hard prospects, very skeptical. And I was just like getting my reps in. And I think
mm.
that's one of the things you got to do to get really good is just like you can't really escape this reality that you just have to get in enough reps. You're not going to get that good unless you've taken hundreds of just
Mm.
hundreds of you've had hundreds of conversations.